Zara was desperate. Her mother was dying, and the only way to pay for treatment was to marry a man she barely knew. He was rich, powerful, and allegedly disabled. But what she didn't know was that behind the wheelchair, behind the sympathy, was a lie so big it would shatter her entire world. This is not just a love story. It's a betrayal that changed everything. But one night, something strange happened. Zara crept downstairs for water and froze. Through the half-open door of the study, she saw Zik, not sitting, not broken, but standing. She married a billionaire in a wheelchair to save her dying mother. But now, she realized, his greatest lie had only just begun. She had gone downstairs for water. As she walked past the study, she heard a noise. She paused. The door was slightly open. Zik's voice came through, louder than she had ever heard it. Zik, angrily, muffled. "No, I told you I don't need help. Stop treating me like a child." Zara peeked in. Zik was standing, not wobbling, not holding anything, just standing like any other man. Zara's breath caught in her throat. She stepped back quickly and ran upstairs before he could see her. She lay on the bed, heart racing. He's not disabled. But why lie? Why the wheelchair? Why the cold behavior? And what had she just stepped into? The next morning, she said nothing. At breakfast, Zik sat in the wheelchair again, cold and distant. Zara smiled, played the role, but inside, her mind was racing. She knew one thing now. Zik was hiding something big, and whatever it was, it had nothing to do with his legs, and everything to do with why no woman had ever stayed. She had promised to stay 1 year, but could she survive even 1 month? The following days felt like walking on cracked glass. She cooked, cleaned, smiled, and went to events with him. People whispered, why did she marry him? Is she after his money? Zara didn't care. Her only focus was her mother. Amaka had called. Mama Lami was in the city hospital now, doing better. That gave Zara strength. But every time Zik rolled past her in his chair, she watched his eyes. Calm, sharp, always watching too. The lie she'd uncovered kept gnawing at her. What was he really hiding? She wanted to ask, but fear held her back. If she exposed him, would he throw her out? Would her mother's treatment stop? One night, Mama Keji came into her room with folded clothes and sat on the bed. You've been quiet, my daughter, she said gently. I'm fine, Zara replied, folding her wrapper. Mama Keji smiled sadly. He's not what he seems, is he? Zara froze. I've worked here for 7 years, Mama Keji said. Zik was not always like this. There was a time he laughed, danced, even played football in this compound. What happened? Zara asked softly. Mama Keji's eyes went far away. His brother died. His name was Toba. They were close. After Toba died, Zik changed. Then one day, he returned from a trip in a wheelchair. No accident, no injury, just silence. He locked himself in this house and told the world he was crippled. Zara's throat dried. Why would he do that? Mama Keji shook her head. I don't know, but maybe you're the one who can find out. That night, Zara walked to the balcony. The moon was full and bright. She stood silently until she heard footsteps behind her. Zik. He rolled up beside her, looking at the sky. "You don't sleep much," he said. "I think a lot," she replied. He chuckled. It was the first time she heard him laugh. It was soft, like something he had forgotten how to do. "Thinking is dangerous," he said. "It makes you want to ask questions." Zara turned to him. "Do you want me to ask questions?" Zik looked at her, and for once his eyes were tired. "You already know, don't you?" he said. She said nothing. He stared at the moon, then whispered, "Everyone thinks I'm broken." So I gave them what they wanted. A broken man. Zara's heart squeezed. "Why would you do that to yourself?" she asked. "Because the truth hurts more than a lie," he said. He rolled away, leaving Zara standing in the moonlight, her heart pounding. She didn't know what hurt him. She didn't know who he was hiding from. But now she was sure. Zik was running from a past darker than anyone knew. And somehow her own heart was starting to care, even if she didn't want it to. The rain came suddenly that evening, heavy and wild, beating against the windows like drums of war. Zara stood by the glass, watching the drops race each other down the pane. Something about the storm matched the feeling in her chest, restless and full of noise. She had seen the truth. Zik could walk, and now he had spoken words filled with pain. It wasn't just money or power keeping him locked in the chair. It was something deeper, something that broke him inside. But Zara wasn't ready to dig into his past yet, not when the present was already complicated. Later that night, Bayo knocked on her door. "Zik says he wants you to go with him to a family event tomorrow," Bayo said. "It's at his uncle's house. Be ready by 10. Zara's stomach turned. "Will it be like a party?" she asked. Bayo gave a strange smile. "It's a family gathering. You'll see." The next morning, Mama Keji helped her pick a green and gold dress. "This one will make you look like a queen," she said, tying Zara's scarf with care. When Zik saw her, something shifted in his eyes, but only for a second. "You look nice," he said quietly, then turned away. They drove in silence through the busy city until they reached a large compound with flowers, cars, and people dressed in fine lace and gold. As soon as they entered, all eyes turned to them. Zara felt the weight of their stares. A tall woman in purple walked up and looked her up and down. "So, this is the girl?" Zik nodded. "Zara, meet my aunt, Madame Bissi." Madame Bissi did not smile. Pretty face, but pretty faces fade. "Can she cook?" Zara opened her mouth, but Zik answered for her. "She's my wife, auntie, not a kitchen maid." Madame Bissi raised her eyebrows and walked away. As they moved through the crowd, whispers followed them. Zara heard bits and pieces. "He married her for show. Just wants to keep the company. She's using him." They reached the table where the elders sat. Zik's uncle, Chief Duro, stood and greeted him warmly. "My boy, my favorite nephew, so good to see you." Chief Duro turned to Zara. "And this must be your beautiful bride. Welcome." For a moment, things felt calm. But then, a young man in a brown agbada stepped forward. His eyes were cold, his smile sharp, like a knife wrapped in silk. "Well, well," he drawled. The cripple finally found himself a queen. Zara's breath caught, a soft gasp escaping before she could stop it. Zeke's hands gripped the rims of his wheels, knuckles white. "Leave, Kunle," Zeke said, his voice cutting through the air like glass. But Kunle only laughed. "Why? Afraid she'll find out who you really are." And then it happened. Just like that. Zeke stood right there, in front of everyone. The room froze. Zara's world tilted. Gasps rippled across the hall, echoing like thunder. Kunle stumbled back, the arrogance draining from his face. His voice faltered. You... Zeke's eyes burned into him. His words came low, dangerous. "Say another word, and I'll forget we share blood." Then, as if nothing had happened, Zeke lowered himself back into the chair. Silence, stunned faces everywhere. Chief Duro, Madame Bissi, every guest frozen in disbelief. But no one was more shaken than Zara. Her mind spun in chaos. He stood, in public. No hiding now. If this was his secret, what else was he hiding? The ride home was suffocatingly silent. The car glided through the city, but inside, the weight of unspoken words pressed down on Zara like chains. When they reached the mansion, she followed him inside, her voice trembling like a fragile note. "Why did you let them believe you were crippled?" Zeke stopped, his back to her, his shoulders rigid. When he finally turned, his eyes weren't just eyes, they were storms. "Because Kunle tried to kill me." The words shattered the room. Zara's breath caught. "What?" His voice was low, steady, but raw with buried rage. "He pushed me from the second floor of my building, thought I'd die. I survived, but I let the world believe I couldn't walk, because I needed to find out why." Zara staggered back, the ground shifting beneath her. The marriage she thought was a desperate bargain was no longer just about money. It was a battlefield of blood and betrayal. That night, she sat at her window, staring at the flickering city lights. But all she heard was his voice echoing in her head. "He tried to kill me." The next morning, Zara found him in the study. Blue light from the laptop carved sharp shadows across his face. He didn't look up. "I didn't tell you to come," he muttered. "I know," she whispered, stepping forward. "But I had to." His hands froze over the keyboard. Silence stretched thin. Then, "I don't tell people things, Zara. They always leave. Or worse, they use it against me." Her throat tightened, but she held his gaze. "I'm not everyone." Slowly he looked up, and for a flicker of a moment, the armor fell away. Beneath the billionaire was a wounded man, scarred by betrayal. "Kunle wanted the company," he said quietly. "I was about to be named chairman. He thought if I was gone, he'd take it all." "Why didn't you go to the police?" she asked. Zeke's lips twisted bitterly. "Family has power. His mother is on the board. My uncle owns politicians. If I accused him without proof, I'd be destroyed." Zara stepped closer, her voice firm. "But now they know you can walk." Zeke shook his head. His tone sharpened like a blade. "No. Now they know I've been lying. And lies are more dangerous than truths." Her stomach churned. For the first time, Zara realized she wasn't living in a marriage. She was standing in the middle of a war. That weekend, they attended a business dinner. Chandeliers glittered above golden tablecloths. Zara wore a sapphire gown, her arm looped through Zeke's as he wheeled himself forward, still playing the game. Then, a tap on Zeke's shoulder. Kunle, a smile that was all venom. "Cousin," he said smoothly. "What a surprise." Zeke's jaw tightened, his face unreadable. Kunle leaned closer, voice dripping with poison. "Be careful who you trust, Zeke. Some wives are better at pretending than you are." Zara frowned. "What does that mean?" Kunle raised his glass. "You'll see," and walked away. Zara's pulse quickened. "What was that?" Zeke's voice was sharp, almost desperate. "He's trying to twist your mind. Don't let him." But her blood ran cold. Something had shifted. When they returned home, an envelope lay at the door. Inside, photographs. Zara, by the stream, handing Amaka a brown envelope. Her heart stopped. "That was the day I gave her money for my mother," she said quickly. Zeke's eyes flicked to hers. "You sure that's all it was?" She froze. He turned, walking away without another word. Zara's throat burned. Kunle had planted a seed. Doubt. And it was already growing. For the first time, Zeke, the man she was beginning to care about, looked at her as though she might be an enemy. The next morning, desperation pushed her to call Amaka. "Someone took photos of us that day," Zara said breathlessly. "Zeke thinks it was something else," Amaka gasped. "I swear, Zara, I took the money straight to the clinic. But there was a man, dark glasses. He was standing outside the compound watching." Zara's stomach twisted. "They've been watching me all along." That evening, she stormed into Zeke's study. His back was to her, but she spoke anyway, her voice trembling with steel. "I didn't lie to you. That money saved my mother's life. Call the clinic. Call the doctor. They'll tell you. But don't you dare let Kunle poison you against me." Zeke turned slowly. His eyes were tired, heavy. "I believe you," he said quietly. "But belief doesn't erase damage. They're trying to break us." Her chest ached, but she held his gaze. "Then don't let them win." For a long moment, silence stretched. Then Zeke nodded, just once. And that single nod meant everything. The quiet didn't last. Days later, Bayo rushed into the mansion. "Something's happened," he panted. "The marriage contract. It's everywhere. Social media, blogs, news. Everyone knows." Zara's heart plummeted. "No!" Mama Keji stormed in with her phone. Bold letters screamed from the screen. "CEO's wife exposed. Paid millions to fake marriage with disabled tycoon." Her own face stared back at her from the headline. The phone slipped from her hands. Zeke stood, not in his chair, not hiding. "We fix this?" he said. "How?" Zara whispered, tears pressing at her eyes. "They'll never believe me now." His voice was steel. "Then it's time the world knows who we really are." 2 days later, the world gathered. Cameras, journalists, the entire nation watching. The conference hall buzzed with tension. Then Zeke stepped onto the stage. No wheelchair, no disguise. Just him, strong, unflinching. Gasps rippled through the room. "I lied," he said into the microphone, his voice steady. "I let the world believe I was crippled. I did it to see who cared about me and who only cared about power. What I found nearly broke me, but what I gained gave me hope." He turned. "Zara, come forward." Her knees shook. But she walked to the stage. The cameras exploded in flashes. This woman, Zig said, his voice carrying across the room, was paid to marry me. Yes, but not because she tricked me, because I offered her the deal. She said yes to save her dying mother. And in the process, she gave me something no amount of money could buy. He paused. His gaze softened. She gave me loyalty. She gave me truth. She gave me a reason to believe again. Zara's tears glistened in the light. The hall was silent. Every camera fixed on them. This wasn't just about a marriage anymore. It was war. It was love. It was survival. And for the first time, Zara realized the story wasn't just about him. It was about them. Together, against the world. Thank you for watching. This is African Tales by Nina. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more unforgettable stories.